Bruegel.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
How's it going, everyone?
Love that part. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I also love the part after they go in and Igor sticks his head out. Broka.
We were just talking backstage about the actress that plays her, Doris Leachman. She was actually like in a Miss America pageant. They really uglied her up for that role.
Yeah.
Of Frau Blucher.
Yeah. So, how is everybody doing today or this evening?
I'm doing pretty well.
I'm well.
Good. Good. It's always good to know the pumpkin is doing well. So.
It is always good.
Say hello to the chat real quick.
Hello, chat.
And Outcasts, the Outcasts Creative was the first one in. Hey there.
Have you done that movie yet?
Sedative.
No. Sedative. One word, 3 syllables.
It was a lot of fun revisiting this.
We were talking about that as well. That this came out the same year as Blazing Saddles.
Gosh.
Yeah. Like in the same year.
One director hitting back-to-back homers.
Yep.
Well done.
Yeah. Craziness. Yeah. First time I saw this was just on TV. I think it was on AMC or something.
Really? Yeah.
I don't remember the exact year I saw it, but I know it wasn't all that long ago. Like it's within the last decade that I finally got to see it.
Yeah, I think I first saw it in the very early 2000s because I worked with a guy who was really into a lot of movies and he recommended a lot of really good stuff to me back then.
I saw it in the early 80s on VHS, and now that I think about it, it wasn't even 10 years old when I saw it. It was definitely 1984.
Wow.
So, because I remember I was overseas when I saw it, and if it would have been after 1984, I would have already been in Arizona by that point. So it had to have been before that, and it came out in 74. So I saw it before it was a 10-year-old movie.
Had the world gone to color by then, or was it still black and white?
What was weird was, like, now that I think about it, I mean, it's like anything. There were still people wearing like polyester and wide collars and bell bottoms and stuff by then, but not too many. It was like older people and stuff. But just how much stuff had changed between like the early 70s to the early 80s was kind of crazy. How fast stuff evolved, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you just see it by watching movies of those time period, you know.
Right. Oh, we got,
and even from the early 80s to the early 90s, how stuff changed too.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Got Cannoli in the chat.
Hey, Cannoli.
Cannoli.
And Barbara Lawrence.
Hello.
How's Jen doing?
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there for anybody in the chat. Yes, I know my camera is glitching. I'm gradually being sucked into the Matrix. I don't know what's going on.
He watched a video from the movie The Ring, and he's only got 7 days, so that's what it is.
Yeah.
If it gets too distracting to me, I'll just go Avatar, so y'all don't see me making ugly faces at my computer.
There's nothing wrong with going avatarted. Just don't go full avatarted.
No.
Yeah, never go full avatar.
Actually, it wasn't that long ago that if I looked at the panel I was going to be on and thought nobody else is going to be on camera, I just wouldn't have been. But,
why not? And that's fine. It's a For me, it's a technical impossibility since I don't own a camera. But
Yeah.
I saw a meme that was you you never go full Filoni. Never go full Filoni.
Never go full Oni.
and that's just watching this movie again and looking at all the movies that came out that year, and you're just like, and then you look at stuff that's being made these days, and you're just like, oh man. I will admit there's a few movies out there that have been made in the recent years that are decent and good, and
At least 4.
I can respect all of the hard work that the people behind the scenes put into these shows, like the set designers, the carpenters, all that kind of stuff. But it's the writing and just a lot of times the marketing that just destroys them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Yes. The trailers just show everything.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Imagine if the trailer for the 1999 Matrix movie, they would have given the whole twist away in the trailer. These days.
Yeah.
Heck, even just the regular mark.
Yeah.
I think part of what sank Mission Impossible 7 was they showed all the stunts.
Right.
Like,
right. Like, look how cool this is. And yeah, because they want to.
It's like you gave everything away.
In Jaws, they would have shown the shark.
Yeah.
They would have shown
Right
the
off
shark
the
more
bat.
than the movie does.
Yeah.
Me personally, I think that the movie was good, but what made Jaws was the scene of them talking about the sinking of the Indianapolis.
Oh yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
That when are we going to get a scene like that again? In a movie?
Good question. Well, we'll have to wait for another ship to sink. Maybe we'll get like a movie that has a super chat about that sub that sank, and that'll be like the modern equivalent.
Right. Yeah, but it's not. It was at night. They were on a boat. The subject got serious all of a sudden. The way it was just amazing. I'm bringing it up because I saw this scene the other day, and it was just, I couldn't believe it. But the other thing is that they did the film in black and white.
Yeah, if I remember from what my buddy told me back in the day, Mel Brooks had to push hard to get it done in black and white because the studio thought it was absolutely going to tank the film.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, because you got to remember that, okay, color movies had come out, and they were a thing in the 50s and 60s, and so was the expectation. But color TVs, they were relative. I mean, they were around, but they were still kind of expensive, and they were just now becoming a thing where everybody could get one if they wanted.
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, but looking back on this, I can't imagine this being anything other than black and white because it nails
it's
the
because he knew what he
aesthetic
was
so
doing.
perfectly.
He knew what he was doing
does.
exactly. This was supposed to be like a 1930s nostalgia piece for people from the 70s, like watching a movie in the 30s, because it looks like it was shot in the 30s.
Yeah, because even the opening credits, it has that kind of telltale like wiggle.
Yep.
That old movies the text would have because it didn't quite match up with everything perfectly.
A couple slides ago where they show the intro, the matte background for the castle.
Oh,
it's
yes.
totally like 1930s looking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or possibly even before that into the silent movies, but it was the same kind of thing. The lighting, the way everything is shot.
Yeah.
They tried to convince him to shoot it in color and they'd convert it later, and he was just like, no, I know you're gonna screw me later.
Yeah, he knew what was up. He knew they were gonna.
Yeah. This is weird. Like they mummified him and put him there, so he's just been sitting in there for a long time.
See, this is weird because that's supposed to be his will or something that he was buried with.
Yeah.
So they had to exhume him to take it back. And even in death, he doesn't want to let it go.
Hey, Miss Martin Muses, how's it going?
Hey,
And
Teresa.
Hello.
Giggles and Bits. That's
Giggles
a
and
great
Bits, the
name.
good
Hey,
dude.
Giggles and Bits.
Yeah.
It is
I'm
great.
not-
Welcome.
Is that Pancho Villa? That's the.
That's what it looks like.
I mean, that's cool.
Howdy, Giggles. He frequents my streams.
Yeah.
And then he tries to take the wheel and it won't let go.
No.
I mean, it's such basic, like physical comedy, but they set the tone so perfectly to be this kind of like gothic traditionally horrific sort of thing, and then it's suddenly comedy.
Yeah.
And that physical comedy is something that I feel like we don't really see these days anymore.
Right.
Like Three Stooges kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Yep.
But I think that, I don't know, we should go back to it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being clever, but sometimes that on-the-nose physical comedy works great too. It's good to kind of blend those, because sometimes one joke's warming up another one.
Yep.
Look at all the women in this doctor's class. It's
Yeah.
1970s.
Oh, SJW moments. No.
No, I'm just saying. Like, if you listen to people today, it's like,
There's never any diverse. It's like, look at this
Yeah.
classroom. They were fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
at least half, good quarter of them. Oh, yeah.
It's like it's
Oh, yes.
it's Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
There's always one student in the class. This guy. I mean, and I'm just going to go ahead and just blanket statement this right now, since he's now on screen. Is actually, I'm not going to say anything other than Gene Wilder.
Oh man, this
Yeah.
is
This dude.
this is an incredible performance.
I mean, he can
It
take
is.
the most deadpan statements and turn them into the funniest moment
Yeah.
ever.
Yes.
And especially as the movie goes on, you don't see it right now, but later on when he goes overseas, he starts getting that traditional, like, overdone, like 30s eye makeup that really accents
Yeah.
everything, and he really starts acting with his eyes, just his eyes, to punctuate comedy, and it's fantastic.
He can project.
There we go, Jacob. Me on top. That's right.
He can project his voice, and he has like a delivery that it's very it like just kind of barks out and then kind of stops. Like when he's in and you see it, like when he gets excited or he's trying to make a point or whatever. He does it in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory a couple times there. I said good day, sir.
I said good day.
I said good day.
Yeah, he goes from just kind of like
Yeah.
level-headed to explosive.
Exactly.
And
That's
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
layering his performance.
Mhm.
He's playing this version of himself where he wants people to take him seriously, detach him from the name, but there's that layer underneath him which is kind of crazy. And so
Mhm.
when he actually starts going through with these experiments later, it's like, yeah, he's always had that bit of crazy in him.
always
just
just
trying
trying
to suppress it.
unhinged.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, and he does the same. Yeah, same thing in Blazing Saddles. Wait, is that the guy from? That's not the guy from Barney Miller, is it? No, I don't think it is. Okay.
Give
It's
him an
Mr.
extra
Underhill.
dollar.
Okay, so yeah, he brings this dude out to demonstrate the differences between like automatic and involuntary motor functions or something of that nature.
Yeah.
Because he's like he's a neuroscience. Yeah, he tells him to hop down.
He's like,
He
nice
awkwardly
hop.
climbs off. Nice hopping. Oh, hey, Roman's here. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Roman.
But I'm just going to go ahead and tell the chat this right now. If you haven't seen this, when we're done, you need to go see it, because there's so many things
Yes.
that we are not going to be able to convey no matter how hard we try.
Yeah.
And there's only so much that can come across in stills.
Yeah.
Yeah. The physical performances are what really add to it. And Giggles and Bits is right. That guy is the preacher from Blazing Saddles.
Okay.
Oh yeah, okay.
And
Yeah.
that's
So yeah, he tells him to lift up his leg and put it down. That's a voluntary thing.
Then he's like, "You dirty, rotten bastard!"
Yeah, you
He's-
son of a. And he goes to knee him in the groin and stops, but he still reacts.
Yeah. And the look on his face.
What'd you
Dude,
do
you
that for?"
crazy.
What'd I do?
He volunteered for something, but he had no idea what he's getting into. Don't worry, he's got this clamp
like-
that
Can be
restrict those reactions.
yeah.
I
A
meant to look
simple
up if
metal
that
clamp.
actually could be done that way. I forgot to. It's like, I have my own experiments to conduct.
Oh, I missed it.
Then he does the same thing, except this time he doesn't just feign
He
it.
doesn't
He
move.
could just fake it and still get the point across. He straight up knees the dude in the nuts.
And these like without these we would collapse like a bunch of broccoli. And he takes the clamp off and he falls over.
Collapse like a bunch of broccoli. Yay.
Nobody. Yeah, he tells her, give him an extra $1.
Yeah. Oh, poor dude.
Hi, JT. I waved at you earlier, buddy. Don't get needy. Yeah, this
And
one
this guy
student just
again.
can't let it go. Talking about reanimation. So smug.
He's just like, I've about had enough of this kid.
He's like picks up a scalpel, says that you'd
He's like-
have more luck reanimating this than dead tissue, and we missed the frame. It stabs right before he's like, isn't that where he yells, "My grandfather's work was doo doo"?
Yeah.
Dude, he's like, the only thing I'm interested in is life, and he
Stabs himself in the leg. He just kind of looks at it and crosses his leg over and hides it.
It's funny,
Quest
for a long
dismissed.
time. For a long time, there was a rumor that circulated that he actually stabbed himself. It's like, of course, that's not true. You can actually see the pad. If you look hard, you can see
Yeah.
the pad on
Oh,
his
yeah.
leg. But for a long time, people thought he accidentally stabbed himself for real.
But still, as basic a stunt as that is,
Oh, it's
you
great.
wouldn't let somebody of Gene Wilder's caliber at the time these days get away with that.
No,
Look at that.
you'd cut directly to his leg, like really close up, and it would be somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like you
oh,
said
No,
before, there's that
It'd
kind
be
of
a CGI scalpel.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
And actually,
like
it'd
you were
have to
saying
be.
earlier, this is where we kind of get a
They
glimpse
would
of
spend
his madness.
$70,000 to, create a CGI shot that lasts half a second to make it look. Oh, see, he just stabbed himself.
It's like, oh,
He just
See,
looked like, oh,
look
no.
at this. People in the chat are just quoting the movie. You don't do
It's
that
so
with
good.
modern movies hardly.
No.
I saw Expendables 4, the new one. It was garbage.
Why?
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
heard
well,
about
because
that.
I was hoping that
The warning is in the title.
Yeah.
but I mean, if you're like 12 years old and you got nothing better to do, then it's okay. But
yeah.
going paying money to go to the theater, it wasn't at a good investment.
So yeah, this guy gives him the will. He's like, the will.
This pulls him back into everything he's tried to leave behind.
And then you got a film noir, like 1930s, 1940s train scene.
Like a
I like
play
this
on like
part, too. It's like,
Casablanca or whatever.
I'm yours. I'm all yours. Don't touch the hair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
taffeta, darling, taffeta.
What?
He said, not the lipstick. I've got this party later.
Madeline Kahn. If I had watched her in her heyday, it's like I would have had the biggest crush on her.
Okay, so I'm going to throw something out here that maybe not everybody even recognizes, but looking at her, I get Kate Mulgrew vibes. She was in Star Trek Voyager.
Oh, that's the captain?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I can see. They have a
Something
similar
I can see
facial
that,
bone
yeah.
structure.
Yeah.
And then he gets her hair in his mouth.
He just kind of goes,
No, Beard. If she were in Star Trek, she'd be Khan.
okay.
Yeah, Captain Janeway. Yeah.
and then they do the don't shake hands during COVID. They
Yeah.
they bump the
I thought
elbows.
that they did the COVID elbow bump.
I thought of that when they do. I was like, oh my gosh, they invented this. Dr. Fauci, Dr. Fauci Stein was watching, and he was like, "What can we do instead of shaking hands?"
Right.
I know. Big rub elbows.
Oh my god.
Hey, what's up, Princess Fiona?
Hey, Princess Fiona. Well, welcome.
And how? Okay, so this train goes from New York City to Transylvania.
Yes, Transylvania.
It goes.
It's actually a really nice thing that they did, because it changed. The set changes, the seat changes, and the exterior changes. The actors remain the same.
Oh yeah, so that's what I was like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah,
I was like, what
they
just
like
happened?
they have the same argument just in German.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. Actually,
Yeah, it was
double
because it
check.
completely. I never really gave it any thought before, because I'm more just a couple of times I've watched it before. I was just watching it to watch it and
Yeah,
have
because
a
if you
good
look
time.
at the
But
seats, they switched to like an older kind of like fancier style right here.
yeah, I was mostly so focused on the actors. I was just like, wait a minute. Now everything. It's like, okay, everything's in German now. It's like, wait a minute, they're in Transylvania now. What just happened?
Have you decided?
I was pretty young when I saw this, but I knew enough that you couldn't take a train from New York to Transylvania.
Yeah, I was like, that's not possible. I mean, there is a part of me actually that wishes they hadn't changed the set at all. It's just like, oh no, there's trains now that do that. But no, that's great.
It's such a weird interaction with this kid.
Yeah. He's like, yeah. Would you like a shine?
Yeah.
No thanks.
It's just
Which is weird
even
because
the small performances are good.
I love this too. He's standing there.
But he's supposed to be in Transylvania, right? Why are they speaking German?
I don't know.
Do they speak German in Transylvania?
No, they don't.
I love it. He's just standing here and hears something and turns around, and there's Igor looking up at him.
Clop drag. Oh my god.
He was
Marty
great,
Feldman.
man.
He steals the movie as far
There
as
is
I'm
no
concerned.
scenery this man has not chewed on in this film.
He was only 48 when he died.
Yeah.
Really?
Far too young.
I especially
love
like that
this
he just
dude's
goes
like-
ahead and breaks the fourth wall constantly, just staring straight back at the audience.
Yeah, he does it like
Yeah.
5 times. It's great.
I like this too. He's like, Dr. Frankenstein? No, it's Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
It's like,
and he's
well, they told me Frankenstein. Well, they told you wrong. He's like, and then he does his name. He's like,
it's
pronounced
Igor.
it's pronounced Igor.
Well, would they called you Frodrick? No, they wouldn't. That comes back later whenever he walks up and he goes, Igor. And he goes, Frodrick?
I love him. He's fantastic. He has so many good lines.
He really is.
And he's like, I can help. I'm a pretty gifted surgeon. I could help you with that hump. And he's like, what hump?
And I love how the hump keeps changing shoulders.
Yeah, it changes size. Yeah.
Which apparently I only learned today looking at some of the trivia that was something that the actor was doing for like a week before anybody noticed. And so they wrote it into the film.
Yeah.
I think they turned it into a line, or they because there's that brief allusion to it later on where he's like, wasn't it on? Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. It's a free floating hump. And then he goes, oh, allow me, master. And he's like, too heavy. And he grabs the smaller bag.
Then he goes to the stairs, picks up the cane. He goes, walk this way. Goes down the stairs, hands him the cane. It's like, no, walk this way.
And that did inspire the Aerosmith song.
You're kidding me.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. Like I'm not kidding. I looked up the trivia and it said that they had been touring and they were Steven Tyler was trying to think of ideas for it, and that line gave him an idea for a song. I mean, obviously he didn't like base it on like the characters of the story, but that line, "Walk This Way," that came from this. I was like,
wow.
That's fantastic.
One of the best parts in the movie.
throws his suitcase.
Would you like
in
to
and
roll in
you
the
hear,
hay?
Would you like to roll in the hay?
Roll, roll, roll.
Roll. Yeah. Yeah, Terry Garr.
And let's just go ahead and get this out of the way right now. This film is a bunch of beautiful women and a bunch of really goofy looking dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This whole
But
thing should
they-
be.
It knew it. You know
Oh,
what I
yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Hey, Zax.
Yeah, to jump to the spoiler point later on, or not to jump ahead, but whenever Frankenstein says, "Curse your eyes," he points, goes, "Too late." They just look
Yeah.
straight at the camera. Yeah.
They're
They
already
knew
cursed.
exactly what they were.
Oh yeah.
Hey, what's up, Copa? Yeah, we already went over that part. My grandfather's work was doo-doo.
It was doo-doo.
Class
Hey, buddy.
dismissed.
And I like this. Like, I'm afraid of the lightning. And he's like, and then there's a wolf howls and like, oh, werewolf.
Werewolf.
And then Igor,
There.
there, wolf. There, castle.
And that werewolf is Mel Brooks.
Really?
Oh, it is.
Apparently,
That's
Gene
funny.
Wilder, in agreeing to do this movie, one of his conditions was he didn't want Mel Brooks to actually be in the movie because he thought it would kind of break the immersion. And so Mel Brooks was basically, he did the howling off screen.
Yeah.
I think he also did the cat noise when they're playing darts.
And to the Princess Fiona's comment, from what at least I looked up, yes, both No Tongue and Ovaltine, and not just Ovaltine, but also Warm Milk were ad-libbed.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of ad-lib lines in this.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what makes most comedies so good, is if there's a lot of ad-libbing in it.
Yeah.
Or, you know, something happens where they like almost drop something, but they keep it in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
a lot of like, apparently the original cut of twice as long because they trimmed it down a ton because they were like, the way it's described, they said a lot of the jokes didn't land, a lot of the jokes they didn't like, so
This
they
one.
basically cut everything out they didn't like.
This one where Frankenstein's helping
What?
what's her face? Inga out of the cart, and he looks at the door and goes, "What knockers?" She goes,
Oh, thank
thank
you.
Apparently, she was going.
Hey,
she
what's up,
originally auditioned, and I think she originally got the role of his fiance, but then Madeline Kahn came in, and I guess she wanted to do it, and then, but Brooks really liked Terry Garr, and he was like, "Can you do a German accent? Because then I can cast you in this role." And she just immediately started. And he's like, "Okay, you got it." Great.
Yeah. I agree, Fiona. Whenever you get like professional comedians that can just roll with something like that, you come out with gold so many times.
Yeah,
And what was this character's name?
Frau Blucher.
Frau Blucher.
Also, to get this out of the way, I was yesterday years old before I realized that rumor about her name meaning glue was not true.
Nope, that's what they told her.
Yeah.
But
It was apparently just Mel Brooks playing on a trope of like a bad guy's name being setting off thunder and yeah, yeah. You got a point, Adam.
There are a lot of things that are different between this movie and Ghostbusters 2016.
yeah,
Yeah, Shield, you're right. They really did a number on her to.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea. I thought she's kind of like the actress that played the Wicked Witch of the West in
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz, right? And the older lady or whatever, because she was in her 40s in this movie.
Yeah.
Right. But you look at the pictures of her, even where she was like accepting awards for this movie. Holy crap, she was good looking.
It's a fetching.
AJ Goodwin.
It's
And he just
Igor's
leans.
like-
He leans out the door and
Blucher.
Bruca. Oh man.
You're not wrong, Fiona.
Mm-hmm.
And part of her kind of not looking as attractive as she actually was might be down to her kind of comedic acting, like using her face to kind of distort her own
You can
look.
tell they put a lot of wrinkles on her face with the makeup, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
well, yeah,
and the
but she's
lighting.
also frowning
word.
constantly. which-
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's her
Yeah.
it's her portrayal too. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I love this. She picks up the candles that
Yeah,
aren't lit,
that are lit.
leads him up the
Stay close.
stairs. Yeah,
Stay close. The stairs are treacherous.
Also, I'm just gonna call it Igor there for being a little puss earlier, seeing as he's carrying both bags.
Yeah.
He was just being lazy. We all know it.
I love the paintings of him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me
they're
too.
so good. I hope he got to keep one of those.
I do. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Speaking of paintings, I also read that apparently one of the artists who attempted to do a poster for this movie, he didn't actually get the job, but Mel Brooks liked it so much that I guess he got him in contact with George Lucas, and he ended up doing the posters for Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
No
cool.
kidding.
Mm-hmm.
I
You're
like
talking
this.
the
He's
OG
like,
one where Luke has got like his chest all open.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so.
She's like,
I'll-
would you care for a brandy? No, thank you. And it was like milk.
Milk.
And then
Ovaltine.
Ovaltine.
I mean, I do like the fact that he walks into that library and he can instantly recognize it. It's not the actual library
Yeah.
because all the books are pedestrian.
Yeah. Oh, the whole bookcase scene is hilarious.
Yeah, these days this scene wouldn't go on this long. It is a
No.
little bit long. You can feel it, but it gets funnier as it does.
Yeah. And his tone of voice gets more annoyed.
Yeah.
Well, this is one where the length of like the pauses is there to draw out comedic tension.
Yes.
Whereas a lot of modern comedies, they drag on where they're just trying joke after joke after joke after joke, and
This too.
Great
nothing's
frame.
landing.
If
They're
it was
just-
a modern thing, what would happen is there would be a moment where there was something impactful happening or emotional or something cool, like somebody talking about how, they're going to do something or something important where you need to pay attention, and they would break it up and interject it with some stupid joke. That's what they would do now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of
And
just
she
making a scene too long.
she kisses the painting.
That's the perfect frame there too with his expression.
Yeah.
She gives him one last look.
This is pretty. It's like, no, you won't make me say it. Okay, I'll say it.
It's
He was
habitual.
saying destiny.
Yeah.
It's basically having a nightmare of like having to follow in his family's footsteps that he's trying so hard to avoid.
Hey, Mrs. Sassy.
being
Hey,
a
hello.
Frankenstein, and then he starts hearing the music.
You get the ominous shadow of the not villain.
Yeah. Hey, Vex.
Hello.
Hey, Vex.
Hello, Vex and Sassy.
She's like, it seems to be coming from behind the bookcase.
So I intended, I didn't have time, but I intended to go and actually watch the original old Frankenstein film, which I've never seen. I'm assuming that a lot of the scenes, shots, and lines are direct allusions to that film as a tribute. But is this violin music from that film? I assume it is.
I don't think so.
They actually, I know I'm pretty sure they borrow from Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein also. They do a
Okay.
little
Yeah.
bit of both.
Yeah,
I know the
it's
scene
been
with
so long since I've seen those.
the scene with Gene Hackman is from Bride of Frankenstein, so they're
That's
pulling
such a
from
good
that
scene.
there.
That's
Yeah,
so good.
which he did for
Yeah.
free. He did it for free.
Grab that candle.
Even the espresso
Put-
line was
put-
his.
The candle back.
And they say it like Bic. Put the candle Bic.
I mean, this is straight up like a Scooby-Doo sketch, and I don't
Oh, yeah.
care. It's so good.
And it goes like insanely fast too.
I mean, you can tell it's sped up, and I don't care. It lends itself to the old, early like 30s style sort of film feel.
And he's like, "We'll try it again, but I'm gonna throw myself in the way of the bookcase."
Then he gets like, I think it's like she ends up getting trapped behind it too. It's all said and done. She's like, "Put the candle back."
Hey, theme park.
Hey,
How's
man.
it going?
Hey, theme park.
Yeah, he's like, now do
Don't
not
put the
put
candle
the
back.
candle back.
He's like, shove on the other end.
Yeah,
Now
did
she
she
ends up
has
on the
her
other side.
turn. Put the candle back.
This scene could have gone on another 3 minutes, and I would have been fine with it.
Yeah.
I would have been totally. If they could have done that, they could have repeated the scene with just her going through the exact same thing, and I'd been like, "That's fine, totally cool."
Yeah, like we're going down the passage now. He says, "Cinch up your robe."
Yeah.
Which, honestly, we all
Why?
looked. Does nothing.
Nope. It's like there's just, how many cinches up are we talking? Like one, if that. It's like just tie it tighter, I guess.
Jay. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been great too.
Yeah.
Our situation has not improved.
Again, since I haven't seen the original, I'm assuming that the sets were rebuilt faithfully.
It's
I know
Ratatouille.
some of the thing. I know like all the complex electrical equipment that actually not only came from Frankenstein, but like that stuff was still in the possession of the guy who designed it. Like he was still alive.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
noticed that on
Mel
the
Brooks
credits.
tracked him
I
down
went
and
and
got
looked
it.
it up. The guy who built it all kept it all
Mhm.
and then loaned it to this production. It's actual physical machinery where switches actually cause things to happen. And he didn't get a credit in the original, but he got a credit in this one.
Yeah. And all of these skulls, except
like
for the
3
6
years
months
dead.
one, are real.
Yeah.
Oh, but really?
Yeah, the 6 months one is designed, but the other ones are real skulls.
Well, I guess the last one is technically real too, but it's also covered in living flesh.
Yeah.
I ain't got nobody.
Freshly dead.
Freshly dead.
Igor, Frodrick.
Frederick.
He's like, "How did you get down here?" I was in the upstairs kitchen, and he came down the dumbwaiter or
Your
something.
dumb waiter. Yeah.
He's like he's in a like straight out of a Monty Python sketch.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
In my head canon, there's actually twins of Igor.
I was thinking that too
And
during
that's
the
why the
movie
hump
because there's
switches.
there's parts of the movie with
Yeah.
them because of the multiple of the way the hump moves one way or the other, and there's a couple scenes where he's out in the distance and then all of a sudden he's right there with him. It's like,
Yes.
are there two of them?
Oh yeah. This is
Yeah,
where
here's the
he
part.
says there's like there's some
There's a light
like
switch.
there's sketchy switches over here, but I'm not going to be the first. So he steps up, flips them, gets like shocked, and he steps back and goes, "Curse your eyes!"
Too
Too
late.
Too late.
That smile is so good. It's It's like a living cartoon character.
He is. Just such a mischief maker. Love it.
And then this is when we get to look at the old original equipment.
Mm-hmm. Looks fantastic. Stuff
It
looks
really does.
so cool.
And the fact that so much of it was actually kind of practical to the effect where if the actor threw a switch, it made a thing happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
And some of these things, it's just basically open electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder where these things are now.
Hopefully they've remained preserved. I would think they would. I mean, gosh, who would mess with this stuff? It'd have to be a monster.
I mean, I'm assuming the guy, I mean, obviously, because he was probably very old when this was made, the guy who owned it and had it sitting in his garage has passed. Hopefully his family put it someplace respectable and not just destroying it or selling it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they get there and there's nobody there.
There's just a violin. It's still
And a
warm.
cigar. And a cigar.
Yeah, at some point, like he asks, "What is this place?" Igor goes, "Music room." Also, okay, this is and it's a secret library.
Yep.
Yeah.
You find all the books for his secret works.
And now
And he's
the
like,
madness
oh,
really
it's the
starts.
library.
In this book right
And
here,
this is so funny.
that book is like foreshadowing to O.J. Simpson. Am I the only one that thought that?
I
How
thought
I
this,
did
yes,
it.
how I did it instead of
Yes.
if I did it. Yeah. I thought when I saw how I did it, I was like, or if I did it. I literally wrote that in my notes. I don't recommend reading that book, by the way. It's really creepy.
I wouldn't.
And I only read like a chapter of it. I was like, oh gosh.
And it's not because of,
Yeah.
I don't want him to get money, because as I understand, he doesn't get money anymore for it.
He never did.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, they're bored, falling asleep while he's going through all the notes. This is the madness really sets in.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it's possible.
Yeah, this is the point where he starts stealing some of that scenery from Marty Feldman and starts chewing it himself.
You can see the makeup now.
I have to say, it's a
the
really
eye
good
makeup.
musical score in this movie too.
Oh yes.
Some by a guy named John Morris. That the music is really good in this. I like it a lot.
And the painting smiling now.
And just like Adam Gray just pointed out in the chat, the original lab gear was made by Kenneth Strickfaden.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize it was basically made from scrap and trash, but it kind of makes sense from old school Hollywood.
Yeah, that's cool.
Here's where they're discussing that
Kipper.
need a very large man. He said he would have to have an enormous Schweinstücke. He's like, yeah, it's going to be very popular.
It's like,
Yeah.
Kipper. That's a lot of kippers.
Anybody else ever had kipper?
No.
I have not.
It's
like
not
a
bad.
fish or something, right?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
salted cured herring.
I love this. It's like you think he's painting, and
Yeah.
and it's actually
It's like a kid's drawing.
Yeah, but he forks. You think that's like a thing with a paint on it, but he sticks the pencil in the food and eats it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the part. He must have an enormous.
Schweinstücke or Stuka.
Yeah, and that's one of the times where he just kind of acts with his eyes. He just looks to the side like, well, yeah.
It's going to be very popular. It's funny. It's like that turns out to be true for that very reason. That's not a throwaway line.
And this, it's like He'll look like this, and it's like exactly what he's gonna look like. But I love this transition.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's the picture swinging back and forth, and then they have him swinging back and forth.
And it's awkwardly set up, but it fits the tone of this being kind of an old style film.
Yeah.
Yeah. This
That's
part too.
good enough for the likes of him.
Can't remember.
This
Did
is
they say what
hilarious.
the guy did? Did they say what the guy did?
No.
No.
Okay. It's like he must have been a bad guy.
He tells him, "Get down," and then he stands up after
Yeah.
he shoves him down.
This too, they go digging the grave, and then they're underneath the coffin.
Yeah. But I didn't think that's going to be.
They'd have to be a little strong to lift up Peter Boyle that easily.
Yeah.
That could be worse. How?
Could be raining. I mean, especially these days, that's such an overused trope, but it still works in this, partly because of that damn smile right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Norm Macdonald's humor. It's sometimes the most obvious joke. It's fine to tell it. It's like it doesn't always have to be, clever. It's like, sometimes it's just funny because it's funny.
Everything's going great. You just got to get it down this little hill.
Exactly.
Until
R.I.P. Norm. We miss you, Norm.
That's true. So they make this big crashing noise. It comes partly out of there.
Yeah. And the policeman doesn't see that they're covered in mud and there's a coffin-shaped box on it.
Hey, R2.
And the hands sticking out.
This is hilarious.
Hey, R2. And then he rubs his hands together.
It's all this various stuff.
It's kind of funny because we've got two characters in this film that have an arm they have to move around themselves.
Yeah.
He shakes. Oh, your hand is like ice cubes.
I should think a warm fire would be good for you. Ah, yes, maybe a nip from the bottle. And he stomps to cue Igor to move his hand around for him.
Yeah.
There's your oh, never mind. Name's escaping me. The joke's done.
No.
What?
My brain's like, oh, this would be great. Nope. It's gone.
It's like, now we just need a brain. And here's he goes to tap him on the shoulder. He's like, it's on the wrong side.
Was it your never mind.
Never mind.
I also love every time he pats it, it makes this very fake hollow thump sound.
Yeah,
Brain depository.
brain depository. If you need to get rid of a brain, here you go.
After 5 p.m., slip brains through the slot in the door.
What can I say, R2? This is both a really hilarious movie, and my dinner is in this because I ran out of time to eat before I got here. So let's hope I'm still making sense by the end of the film.
I love this. He goes around the door and it scares him.
His own hand.
I mean, it's not only funny, but it sets up what's about to happen too.
Yeah.
It's great filmmaking.
Yeah. He's feeling jumpy.
That kind of stuff happens to people sometimes.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
I mean, with my current setup here, when I'm playing a game, and if not all the lights are on, there are times where I move my hand and a shadow appears on the wall, and more than often I'll go, I do it to myself. Yes,
Han
R2, it's a
still
blended steak.
Han still broke.
Hand still broke.
Scientist and saint. Mm-hmm.
And the way he's jumpy again and scares himself. Breaks.
Sees himself, no biggie than the lightning flashes.
And he just grabs the nearest brain.
Abby normal.
Abby normal. I don't know if anybody noticed, but when I was posting on Twitter about this movie, I put in Abby Normal as a guest.
I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that.
When I first because it's funny, it's like I saw that before I rewatched the movie, and I was like, I don't think I've heard of this person. And then I saw this joke, and I was like, oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, the first post I didn't catch it. The second one I did.
I caught it to catch, but I saw it wasn't like tagged. It wasn't an actual tag. It was just typed out, and I was like, okay, there's something to that, and it just kind of got stuck in my head. And then I watched the movie. I was like, oh, that's good. I like that.
It says on the thing, do not use this brain. I mean, like, other than this, what would you be doing with it? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe he's not the only one doing this.
Well,
I want to see what the other
what's
other
really,
brains say.
really crazy about this whole thing is that the original Frankenstein story was written in the early 1800s.
Scientist and saint.
Yep.
Sorry, I had to go back and read that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other one is Charles Opie, visionary.
I'm curious if that means anything.
The oversized,
nails
totally not adding like 7 inches to his height shoes.
Yeah, right. And they just
That'd have been
totally
a
just
nightmare.
and they totally just show off his platform shoes too later.
Yeah. See, I think that, at least in my head, nothing in this film is a production error. Anything that went wrong, I attribute to being a tribute to old filmmaking.
Yeah.
Open, they have their masks on.
Oh, good. They'll be fine then. As long as they're, rubbing elbows.
His part, he's putting the kite up. He's like, "When you tie that off and get down here, or you'll get struck by lightning." He's like,
Are you sure this is how he did it?
and he shows up like right beside him. And he's like, "What? How did you get?"
It's the twin theory.
Yep. I actually went back and like, okay, did the hump change sides
He's like-
between shots? And no,
Yeah.
I don't think it did.
And he's like, "Why are you yelling? I'm right here."
And nobody questions it.
Like, okay, sure. That's Igor.
Goes to throw the switches. Oh wait, no. First he has to raise him up.
Oh, this is this. It's like, "Raise me up." She's like, right here.
Oh yeah. Elevate me. That's right.
Yeah.
Here?
Here?
Here? Now? Yeah,
Oh, you
raise
mean
me
the
up.
elevator.
Raise me up to the roof.
Oh, you mean the platform?
And he like does this crazy monologue.
He's got some crazy mad scientist hair.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great mad scientist moment.
It's such a great performance in general.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
I can't remember. There was a publication that had a ranking of best on-screen performances. They had this in the top 10.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Again, to the people in chat, even if you have seen this, go watch it again, because there is so much we cannot convey that makes this film great.
Yeah, and how he doesn't get struck by lightning up here.
He's like, Igor, come down so you don't get struck by lightning. I'm going to go up there.
Yeah.
I want to say it was maybe
It's like, throw
Variety
the
or
switch.
something.
And this is really cool too. The face glowing effect
like,
was
Glow
really
is
good.
like make his skull seem like it's glowing.
Yeah.
It's all done by he's got the crazy goggles on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Throw the third switch.
Well, they
Not
actually,
the
and one of the
third
things they
switch.
did, one of the things they did to make Peter Boyles kind of stick out a little bit more on screen is the same thing they did with Boris Karloff. They put like green makeup on them so they'd show up a little bit more prominently in the black and white.
Yeah. I haven't done a
pretty
ton
cool.
of black and white photography, but I have dabbled a little bit and know that like you can change how things look just by putting filters,
Yeah.
like colored filters on stuff.
It
makes
is a
dramatic
different
difference.
animal.
Yeah.
It's a different animal, you go from color to black and white.
Yeah. So
Totally
depending on
totally different skills to work with.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely depending on the makeup colors and the wardrobe colors, you can change a scene completely. Oh, there it is.
I don't know if the prosthetic they put on his face, and that's actually on his face.
Yeah, I was
couldn't
debating
figure out how they did that.
if it was practical or a double exposure of some kind, and I couldn't decide on which one it was.
It looks like a negative superimposed over it.
Yeah. I don't know. I was thinking it might have been a projection of some sort actually physically onto his face.
It's probably like something like you do with like Adam's saying, you do with makeup that they could do these days, but
Oh,
now
okay,
they
yeah.
CGI it for $10 million or whatever.
And I guess you
And
can get away
he's
with some of that
smoking
stuff in
everywhere.
black and white more easily too, because yeah.
Well, I do know that it used to be like TV announcers and people that were on TV when it was shot with a specific kind of black and white camera, that they would use blue and gray makeup, like super and like deep eyeshadows, and their lips would be black, basically because the way that it was recorded off of the black and white, that was the best way for makeup to show up.
Okay.
So they looked really super weird
Yeah.
if you saw what they looked like without being on the broadcast.
It's like
So
it didn't work.
He's failed, but as science teaches us, we must accept our failures with quiet dignity and learn from them.
He's like, you bastard. What have you done to me?
Quiet dignity.
Yeah, the town meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting thing about these villagers. So apparently, Mary Shelley's original novel, there was that she based the character Frankenstein often. There was an actual noble house of Frankenstein. It's spelled a little bit differently. It's spelled with like a CK instead of just the K. But there is a descendant of that house that's an uncredited villager.
Really?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's a person named Clement von Frankenstein.
Huh,
I was
cool.
like, that's cool.
I know this is not
Cool.
this is off topic, but I was watching a video about the Star Trek Continues, that fan made series on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the actress's name? but in one of the original series, an actress that plays a Romulan, her daughter plays plays the same character in that fan made series.
Oh, that's cool.
And she looks just
Well, that's
like her.
pretty cool.
It's crazy. I like it when they do that in movies.
Yeah. So we're seeing the beginning, the beginnings of the freak out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's gonna. They know it's gonna happen because he's a Frankenstein.
He's a
and they're all
Frankenstein.
mad.
I love the chief, the inspector.
Oh, this
With his-
inspector, guys, he's
The way he
He's a
lights his
riot.
cigarette, he catches his finger on fire, and then dips it in the beer, and then flips the hand, and it just flips beer all over the place.
and memorizing all of those separate moves to get that thing just so that I wonder how long it took to memorize all that, because that's quite a good bit of physical acting there to get all that right. That's excellent, and just really
Yeah, it
solid sound design for a joke. That's awesome.
Also, we have to point out the fact that he has a monocle on his
Over
eye
the
patch.
eye.
Over the eye patch, yeah.
Oh, that's great. Kenneth Mars, actually, he's that guy was doing voice work for a really long time. He passed away in like 2011, but he like this guy was like King Triton in The Little Mermaid, and continued doing
Wow.
voice work for like video, like that game Kingdom Hearts. The Little Mermaid thing's in there. He's King Triton in that too, and
Yeah.
he did a bunch of other stuff. But yeah,
According to this, he died in 2011.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
He was around a while.
So this is kind of that Jaws moment where the authority walks in
Yeah.
and starts telling them what they're going to have to do.
He's the Quint.
Yep.
I love his whole getup.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And they get so worked up that nobody can even understand him.
Yeah, right. And he occasionally gets his arm stuck. And he's the owner of the lumber mill.
Like I almost half expected
Like,
them
he
to
got
make like
his-
an oil can joke
Yeah.
because of that jerky way he moves, kind of like the Tin Man.
Then it's like he got his arm cut off at the lumber mill.
Man, Terry Garr always wearing that low cut stuff.
I like this. It's like, and you haven't touched your food. And then he touches his food. See, I touched it. Are you happy now?
So childish.
And you're right, Shield. And it may be crass, but I'm not complaining.
No, it's not crass. I'm just saying they know how to make movies back in the 70s.
I mean, you take
What's
your
funny-
actor and you feature their physicality, like with Igor there. You feature
I
his
thought you were
eyes.
gonna say Lizzo. My bad.
Yeah, no, I never go there unless I have to.
And you wouldn't be seeing the cleavage you wanted to with Lizzo.
Ah.
Oh no.
So he starts to move.
And I love this. They're eating the dessert. And Igor's like talking like, what is this? And then the
like, "Oh,
monster
hey."
goes, mm.
Oh, so you like it? You're right, Adam. It really is. Well, I understand that, Fiona. I thanks to Jacob, actually, I get to dip my toes back in these old films that make me. It's like a reprieve from what we get today. So that's how I try to look
Yeah,
at it.
it is. Yeah. That's what I try to do,
That's
I want
why-
people to-
that's why-
I want
yep.
people to see that, they don't have to watch that new crap. And there's plenty of old stuff to watch. That's really great.
Yeah, that's why I like being on these streams. Just get to relive some of these older movies and see how good they really were.
I think this is actually the first time I've been here, Jacob, that it hasn't been a first watch for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's the other great thing about Jacob's channel is if you're a younger person or whatever, a lot of these movies you wouldn't even know existed. Nobody talks about them. You don't see them anywhere. And they're really good.
I love this.
We got a whole generation of people coming up that need to know that there's a lot more out there than the MCU stuff
Yes.
like that. It's like, guys, there's a whole
And to those
treasure trove of
people
great movies.
who don't like black and white movies,
Racist.
grow up.
I like this, him kind of coaxing him like a toddler trying to take his first steps. Like I know they had to have like added to his brow to make him look even more kind of like Frankensteinish, but how is that man so recognizable in everything?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, Igor just goes and lights.
Igor lights
He's
it
just
up.
lighting it up.
Like, ah.
Well, the actor that plays Igor, he reportedly smoked like 5 packs of cigarettes a day.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
At that point, just take a pipe smoking. It's cheaper.
Yeah.
3 words. Sounds like.
Wow, that's pretty high praise, Princess Fiona. For Bad News Bears. I remember watching that on TV.
Yeah.
As long as it's the old one and not the...
Yeah. The original one. Yep.
Yeah.
I think the old one was filmed in the Astrodome. I think so. Anyway. Yeah.
So she gives him the sedative. So the sedative. He gets him in the rear end, and he
Yeah. There's Peter Boyle is one of
Yes.
the guys who's born 40. There's a lot of people like that where you see them and you're like, it was like the Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea he's like 50 in the original show or an original movie, and then like years later I'm like, he looks the same. He looked the same in the original movie as he did when he died, like 25 years later. How did he look that damn old already?
I think from what I looked up earlier in this, Peter Boyle was 30, like either 39 or 40, and Gene Wilder was 2 or 3 years older than him. And you look at the two side by side, and you think, no, Peter Boyle's older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
Right. Well, where they
some
have
of us folks are cursed with the baldness.
they have actresses playing other actresses' mother, and they're only 5 or 7 years older than them.
Yeah.
Yeah. This dude's like, here, come over here and sit down. And he sits down on the floor. And he's like, no, sit up here.
Oh, thank you.
And he's like,
Promise to tell me the truth. Oh, and you won't be mad? And I won't be mad.
I won't be mad. Whose brain did we? Abby somebody. Abby somebody.
Abby normal. I'm pretty sure that's what it said. So you brought me an abnormal brain. Well, I think so.
And then they pull the same gag.
Yes. Immediately grabs him and he's going, 3 words.
His face.
I'm just going to go ahead and say this. If you're strangling Marty Feldman, how do you know when it's gone too far? Because you can't wait for his eyes to bug out.
Yeah,
I know.
right.
Exactly. He already looks like he's in what was the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger on
Total
Mars?
Recall.
Total Recall, yeah. Like he's with a mask on. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and obviously you can't tell if he turns blue if it's all in black and white.
Yeah.
I
I love this scene.
Hey, Steven, how's it going, man?
Hey, Steven.
Thanks for being here.
Steven.
This whole scene is great.
He pulls all the darts out, sticks them in his arm.
Yeah. And then he waits till his back's turned and just goes up and sticks them all in.
Oh my
and
gosh!
does the
It's
sound effect for it.
him stabbing his arm. It's like it's mirroring him stabbing himself in the leg. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
George Lucas was right.
And then, yeah, he does the thing with his arm where he makes it sound like they're going in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is funny too. He's like, he's about to shoot and he says something really loud.
Well, it's not only loud, but it's kind of accusatory, throwing him off his game.
Yeah.
Literally.
He's just
You
throwing all
darts
over
going out the window.
This backwards.
I've
He hits
known
the
people
cat
who throw
with
darts
it.
backwards.
Yeah,
I
I've
don't know.
seen that. I've seen people that throw darts backwards like that before.
He hits the cat.
I mean, you couldn't have a film like this and not have that stereotypical cat sound. You just have to have
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and that was Mel Brooks doing it. It was great.
Also
Saves you on budget.
Exactly.
And this is funny. It's like, good night. And then the arm gets stuck.
I mean, at what point in the writing process did they think we're just going to have this guy with a mechanical, like not mechanical, but wooden arm that makes all these noises and gets stuck? And everybody went, that's a great idea.
And I love this. He goes outside and it's like more darts that he threw stuck in the car.
See you, buddy.
He's got the one in his
later,
head.
Ricky.
Later, RT. And the tires are all flat.
Yeah. Every tire is hit, even the spare.
Oh, that's great.
And she is super excited to see her former lover's creation continuing.
He's
Yeah.
saying she's gonna free him.
Which, I mean, her kind of position on it, if I remember correctly, because it's been since high school since I read it, and I'm pretty sure I didn't read the entire thing and just cheated most of my tests, allegedly. But in the original book, the monster's not really a monster. He's like intelligent and misunderstood.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is kind of a nice little nod to somebody who's seeing him for more than what everybody else sees him as.
Yeah. In one movie, Robert De Niro plays the monster.
Yeah,
If you've seen that one.
I've heard of
And
it. I
he's
haven't watched it.
intelligent.
I haven't watched that one, but I am aware of it.
That's kind of an oxymoron, isn't Robert De Niro intelligent?
Yeah, Adam speaks perfectly well in the book. That's what I seem to remember. I may even still have my copy that I bought back in high school.
I need to read that book. I've never read it.
I should read it again, because when I have to read for school, I never cared. I enjoyed reading, but I never cared for reading for school.
Oh yeah, it's because they're telling you what to read rather than
Yeah.
getting some agency in choosing. I wish they would have let us read cool books.
I
Though,
love
like
how-
Frankenstein. I might have enjoyed it more.
He has such a childlike face.
Yeah.
Yeah, she starts playing the music, and he's like catching invisible fireflies or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to read a lot of stuff I didn't really care for when I was in high school, but looking back on it, I'm actually thankful that I got exposed to it, so I could, you know what I mean? Because otherwise, I would have never read it on my own.
Yeah.
You played that
And
music in
so
the middle of the
you
night.
played the music.
Yes. to get us into the laboratory. Yes. It was your cigar in the ashtray. Yes. So
And
that
she's like, say it.
that means
he
you
was
and Victor
my-
were
He was my boyfriend.
All of the just melodrama, just over the top, everything.
and something as just boyfriend. It's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like boyfriend being the last. It's like let's be as modern with the word as possible. Just boyfriend.
Yeah, you would expect like lover or something like that.
Exactly.
Boyfriend.
It's great.
Wow.
And they all touch their mouth like, oh no. Oh man.
Isn't this? I think this is a nod to this, maybe the story as well. Because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that the creature in Mary Shelley's book comes across a little girl that he like
Yeah.
befriends.
And then kills.
Yeah.
Does he? I don't know.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I think in the
At
original
least in
he
the
does.
movie he does, yeah.
Yeah,
But
they
they're
just
like-
boarded up their house to protect their
Boarded up.
family, and
And they're
neither
like,
one of them.
where's the girl? Where's our daughter?
You took her to bed, right? No, you took her to bed. No, I didn't take her to bed.
And then they go looking for her, and they didn't look upstairs to make
Yeah.
sure she went upstairs.
And she like gets him to sit on the seesaw. It
Yeah.
frustrates him so much he sits on it really hard and just flings her into her bed. And it's one of those great bad special effects.
Sit
It's
Yeah,
so
oh
good.
yeah. And if you watch it, right when she hits the bed, that girl is looking directly at the camera with the biggest smile on her face because she is having a great time.
Oh yeah.
She just covers herself up, goes to bed.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Oh, this is so good. This made me look. Haven't seen Gene Hackman in a long time, so it made me look him up, and he's still alive. He's 90.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to look this
Does
up because
not
there's something
look
that
like
he,
him at all.
No.
well, there's something he says at one point, like he turns to the profile and the voice that comes out, I like had flashbacks to like Superman. and I had to look him up. It's like, yep, Gene Hackman.
Oh,
he's,
Hackman.
he's praying. He's praying that God will send somebody that he can. So he won't be lonely.
Yeah, Roman, I never
I think-
finished that, but I got to get back to it.
The first season was pretty good. It was all right. Had some hot chicks in it too.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
he
got
just-
Eva Green, so
He just wants company, and then suddenly this door bursts open.
Ah.
And he's blind, so he can't see who's
Yeah.
actually there. He starts making noises. Oh, no, shush. Don't speak.
keeps remarking how big he is. Yeah, apparently him and Gene Wilder were tennis buddies. And that's
Really?
he heard. Yeah, apparently I think he like Hackman requested to work on the movie. Like he really wanted to be in it, and I guess offered to do this for free.
I love this. Like, would you like some soup?
But yeah, this scene is
Watching
from
Peter Boyle's
Bride of
face as he
Frankenstein.
tries to like get the bowl in the right spot.
Nah.
It's
Great
awesome.
physical comedy. It is so simple to do.
Yeah.
It's like you have a good scenario, and you have good actors. And it's like, and you just
He's like,
let it go.
He's like, this is gonna be so good, and he's pouring his drink, and they're like, no, a toast,
Destroys the
and
mug.
just destroys the mug.
It's like, you gotta be kidding me.
I cannot imagine any actor in the world doing that role like Peter Boyle does.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's like,
Oh,
that
he's got
thing where he
cigar.
had his hands out, he was like, how he looked. That reminded me of Roman. Like, what? Why's my computer doing that?
Where that?
Yeah, that is right there. That's like, why is my second screen locking up?
Right before the stream starts, you're going click,
Yep.
click, click, and go.
What? Oh.
Oh, it's been
He
too
shows
long
him,
since I had a good
"Oh,
cigar.
here, this is what it's for." He's like, oh, okay.
He grabs the slab, just lights it on fire.
You know, this is
I
obviously
love it. He's
a
got this.
practical effect where they put something on Peter Boyle's thumb and lit it
Yeah.
on fire.
He's acting like all excited, and then he realizes his thumb's on fire.
That's a good question, Stephen. And that right there is one of the few times that before later on in the film where he makes a noise that doesn't sound like it was dubbed later.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I love this. He's like, oh, don't leave. I was going to make espresso.
Another improvised line. Apparently they had to cut away from this so quick because
Yeah.
he laughed. It's like the laugh came right after that, and then they tried doing the take a few times more, and they couldn't get past it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of takes that were broken by laughter.
Oh, I can imagine. That's how you know it's going to be a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. I was going to say that too. They immediately laughed, and when they tried to do it again, Gene Hackman couldn't get through it without laughing.
Nope.
So it was just
like that
all
was
right,
the first take after
one take.
It's gonna make espresso. Fantastic.
So I like this. We pretty much know who that's going to be playing that same song.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it's when they light up his face, he's got such Gene Wilder eyes in anything he is ever in. You immediately know who he is.
Yeah.
And instead of continuing to allure him with, the peaceful music, they drop a net on him.
Yeah. And then if you notice, she sticks him with the syringe, but the syringe doesn't get pushed down.
Oh, I missed that.
I was distracted by her hat.
Yes, it's a hat.
And her skirt.
The hat. Definitely the hat.
I wasn't distracted. I was looking exactly where I wanted to.
I love this. I'm gonna go in here, and you lock the door behind me, and whatever noises I make, don't open the door. And he's like, immediately goes in.
Like last
Open the
10
door.
It's so funny. I love it's just like when he starts telling it out, he's like, it's first very firm and just like, okay, he goes, forget what I said. Let me go. He's like trying to reason with him, and then he just starts the yelling. Ah, dang it! Open the door.
The immediate regret sets in. Ew, that's a great frame. That's a great frame.
That's most people's reaction when they watch 2016 Ghostbusters. Oh no.
Yeah, Stephen, I said earlier, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of shots in here that are direct references that I just don't know because I haven't seen the original.
They're like not opening the door.
Yeah. He's like, well, come on, let me out. What are you doing? What are you doing? Have you heard of a joke? Haven't you heard? I was joking. What's wrong with you people?
And he's like, you're a good boy.
Yeah, I like how he turns around to like a pep talk for like an insecure teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not laughing at you. They're jealous of you.
I just noticed the zipper on his neck.
Yeah.
Like the actual zipper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Madeline Kahn later in the movie calls him Zipper Neck.
His zipper neck.
And just think, if she had aimed that adjective just a little bit higher, it would have been racist.
Yeah. And then he starts crying. The monster starts crying.
He just needs a father.
I like how even he starts looking up at Frankenstein towards the end of the scene, like, "Boy, you kind of crazy." You start right there. He's like,
He's like, okay, now.
It's like, Dad, this hug has gone on for too long. My friends are staring. Yeah, he's fantastic, Steven.
Yeah.
Probably fair to say he was never appreciated for his acting the way he should have
Good
been.
one, Roman.
What is that? The butcherist? Is that what that says?
Bucharest.
Bucharest, sorry.
Bucharest Academy of Science. Tonight only. Dr. F. Frankenstein presents the creature.
The creature.
Frankenstein.
Everybody turns out in their finest. I would have to think that if this were actually happening, it would be a combination of like scientific interest and sideshow interest.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. It's totally, but it's for the rich and famous and the upper crust. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do like when the police walk in the back, the inspector's his arm stuck out and is blocking the other guy's view. And the guy just reaches up and shoves his arm down.
If I go to a show and I can afford it, I always get the box seat. Just
What, a play or a movie theater?
no, like a play or like a show or something.
What movie
All
theater
right.
are you going to with your box seats? What the heck?
If I can afford it.
That's a flex right there.
I guess.
So you can wave to the people below. Hello.
No, it's just usually it's just a better viewing and sound.
Yeah.
If I ever got a box seat, I would end up channeling was it Statler and Waldorf? I'd heckle everybody.
Oh, from the
Yeah. And so nobody here is taking him seriously.
Yeah, once he brings up that he's talking, his experiments involve reanimating dead tissue, they think he's a sideshow.
Yeah, I would imagine like
fainting.
a bunch of them are there to see him fail as much as anything else because they don't believe him. Oh, and then we get the feature of the big old boots.
Yeah.
Really? I'm glad he did. That's fantastic.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad they didn't cut that.
Yeah.
He was right to keep it. It's a great scene.
And just this wouldn't have the same punch if it didn't wasn't finalized with that.
Right. And you read about that or you hear about that.
She's just obnoxiously cute.
Not wrong.
It's true.
Yeah, you read about that or hear about that in so many movies where they wanted to keep something in and they cut it or they didn't cut something, and you look back on it and you're like, if they would have not made that decision, the movie would have been garbage or not as good, or they had something missing from it.
And they lowered the lights and putting on the Ritz.
First time I saw this, having already been seen all the other just absurd things that have happened in this film, I was not ready for this.
I love how he's putting on the Ritz.
Yeah, so it's all it's pretty good.
Oh yes, as Steven points out, yeah. And after he does a leg lift, he pops a treat in his mouth like he's a
Like he's a
dog
good
on
dog.
stage
Good
performing. I don't know how difficult it would have been, but I can't imagine doing any basic moving around, let alone dancing in those oversized boots would have been easy.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think he does the little quick tap dance around too.
Yeah. The way he moves, it seems like they must have been pretty heavy because he never kicks his legs up very high at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clomping. Yes. Definitely Adam clomping. Yes. I love that. And then the light bulb pops.
Yeah. And then everybody just starts throwing cabbage or vegetables at him.
Well, and as much as like Frankenstein's been telling him, this is all about you, this is all about you, he immediately turns on him and goes, are you trying to embarrass me? So he's out.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that Igor was playing the piano. And he's got like his hair.
Yeah. He does look weird without the hood on.
Yeah, seeing him with that hairdo is, I was like, what?
Yeah, Steven, the origin of Rotten Tomatoes.
And there's the shot that I think it was Steven earlier saying is a direct homage to the original.
Yeah,
I wish there could
it's
be
funny he
something I
didn't
could
do
to
anything
relieve
and they
this
just
pain.
arrested him.
Oh yeah, there was only something I could do. Anything.
It's like,
After her kind of naively suggesting it the entire time, he's kind of like, okay, fine.
Yeah, they're on the platform.
What's funny is I remember thinking during the movie that she kind of reminded me of, like, I guess sort of a more like glamorous looking Lisa Kudrow, and apparently she has played her mother before on another show.
Oh, really?
I
But
didn't
she just
think that, but I
kind
could
of
totally
vaguely
see it.
reminded me of her, and I was just like, huh. And then I was looking up her acting credits. I was like, oh, she played her mother. How about that?
That is spot on.
And then he finds out his fiance's coming.
Within minutes.
Yeah.
Like, she'll be here any second now.
Perhaps you should put on a tie.
One thing that's funny is, so apparently at the Golden Globes, Cloris Leachman for this movie was nominated for Best Actress in a Comedy, and Madeline Kahn was nominated for Best Supporting Actress in a Comedy for this movie. And yet Kahn actually has a little bit more screen time, technically. It's just, I think it's because it comes so late in the movie that, it's seen as a supporting role. But I'm, of course, granted, I don't get how Cloris Leachman is seen as a lead in this at all, but the Golden Globes are weird. Terry Garr would be the lead if there's any lead woman in this. But
Yeah, absolutely.
What does Igor say to her here?
Oh,
I think he just repeats the same thing that
Yeah, he reads back to her. Darling, surprised to see
Yeah.
me? That just unease and mild disgust on her face. And he jumps around and goes, act natural.
as if anything was going on.
What exactly
And then
do you
he
do
bites
here?
her. He bites her fur.
Yes. She asks Inga, what do you do here? It's like, well, I assist him with the lab, and we have intellectual discussions. In fact, before you got here, we were
Yeah.
just... Shush, 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 shush.
Oh yeah, and Terry Garhish, she's also in Dumb and Dumber, by the way.
Really?
She plays so Mary Swanson, the love interest. Terry Gar plays her mother in that.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I think she's the one who gets her to go out with Jeff Daniels, for him to take her out for the day.
There he goes.
I'm pretty sure that probably wasn't fake fur back then.
Probably
No, I think
not.
they did this take several times because he kept getting fur in his mouth and everybody would start laughing. He had to do it several times.
The officially listed sadistic jailer.
Sadistic jailer. Don't play with matches.
Well, so much for those chains. But don't worry, he's still dressed in his finest.
I want this too. He's like, a riot is a dangerous thing. It's about time we start one.
Yeah. This is, I think, the only time you see him move, unless I missed his assistant there moving his arm down, that he actually moves that arm without doing it with his other hand.
Yeah.
You know that the Frankenstein book and all the associated movies are where you get the adage about pitchforks and torches. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? I guess being funny is really all that matters.
It's all about the bug eyes, man. Sweet.
Yeah.
See, if I were a woman that was married to Marty, this is a weird sentence. I would be worried that he'd always be looking at somebody else.
At you and at the other chick at the
Yeah,
same
because
time.
he can always keep an eye on me at the same time. But like, also over here. Same, Adam. That in my face fur. Yeah, so she's basically just like teasing him. It's like, but what if we just continue to wait? And he is,
It's fine.
he kind of takes on the same kind of like, speech patterns of the creature.
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
He just starts to grunt his way. He's like,
I love you. You love me too. Been there, buddy. Been there.
And it's an understandable frustration. She looks quite good. And
She does.
And she's that's her. I mean, she's really singing and everything. I've always found a woman with a good singing voice extra attractive. So even when it's done for comedy, it's like it's still pretty awesome.
So he
so he sneaks in and like scares Gray into her hair.
What's funny is this is
without
question the scene that would get this movie in trouble today.
Yeah.
This is like, oh, you can't do this.
One of the people walking here just walks right into the big tree with this guy right here, I think. I don't know. He runs right into the tree.
I didn't catch that earlier. And then the very obvious Bride of Frankenstein nod.
She's like, my father has a lot of money.
Yeah, if you play this on TV now, I don't even think this scene would get anywhere near broadcast.
Probably not. And
Yeah.
She's like, oh, you're a
Just-
monster.
She goes from being like scared to woof.
but I'm a wolf.
And then she starts operatic singing.
I want to say they had a different song in mind originally, but she insisted on a song that had "awe" in the title.
And suddenly he's not afraid of fire, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that'll
Things look different afterward.
Exactly. It'll change me. Yep. Also, I know why this scene wouldn't go down very well these days. The cigarettes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because it's a straight couple.
And it's cigarettes. Unless it was weed. If it was weed, it'd be okay. You can
Totally.
show that all day.
Look,
But
those are even
cigarettes, no.
unfiltered. Mm.
Oh, all right.
Oh, yeah, she's like, you go for like 7's always been my lucky number, and he runs off. It's like, just like you, every man, 7 or 8 quickies, and they're off to tell the boy.
I think I'm in love with him.
Yeah, they're playing the music over them.
Igor's ready for his brief horn appearance.
Yeah.
That is literally like a ram's horn, but also has valves like a trumpet. It
Yeah, right.
can't handle it.
It's like the original cowbell thing. It's just waiting for the opportunity
It is.
to get involved in the music.
He just straight up climbs the side of the castle.
Yeah.
They go to help him. He's like, no, he has to do it himself.
And he almost falls.
Yeah.
What's funny is you don't even necessarily realize that the movie's coming to an end here. It's just things are happening. It's like, I mean, I remember this scene's coming on. I was like, I wonder how much longer this movie has. It's like there was like 8 minutes left at this point. I was like, oh, I guess this is the end. Okay. It's like, that's fine, I guess.
And they're gonna do a brain transference.
They basically kind of do, to get a little bit more nerdy here, they kind of do the thing that Picard did for Spock's father, where like he mind melds to like stabilize his mind. So they're not really doing a brain transfer. They're like stabilizing it by giving the creature some of his intelligence or something of that nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't get into it. It's not important, and nobody cares about my Star Trek reference. But that's where my brain was like, "Oh yeah, it's like that time with Captain Picard." Oh yeah, and he said like 15 minutes on the dot, not a second longer or shorter.
And it's like a second, and then they come in and break everything.
He uses his arm as the battering ram.
Yeah.
So dumb. I love it.
And it's like they know exactly where to go.
Yeah. Down to the
We've
hidden,
done
like,
it.
basement
Our
that nobody else can
ancestors
find
have done this before.
This has been passed down behind every
I love
single
this. He's
family
like,
since.
Put that man down.
I mean, I know who this is, and I know what voice is going to come out of him when he speaks, but it still is weird for me to hear his voice.
Yeah. It's weird to hear a younger version of it.
Hey, Salty.
I agree.
He's like, and who do you think you are? And he's got no accent, no German accent.
Yeah.
It's just a
Yeah.
Well, I kind of, in my head canon, that's because I lended that towards the fact that he got on, like, took on Frankenstein's American accent.
But yeah,
Like,
because he kind of speaks with a similar type of lingo. So yeah, I think that pretty much makes sense.
and I mean, this is also obviously not even just because it needed to happen for the resolution of the film, but a nod to the fact that in the book the creature was intelligent and well spoken.
Yeah.
And suddenly everybody's like, "Oh, you're not a monster." This is honestly a good little speech he makes, and
Yeah.
we cannot recap this here. So again,
Yeah.
people in chat,
Watch it. Go
watch
Watch the movie.
I don't care if you've seen it before. Watch it again. And she's weeping, and he extends the hand of
He
friendship.
pulls his arm off. And then he's like, he grabs the arm and points with it.
Well, and he lets out probably the funniest profanity at that particular moment. It's like it's just well done.
It's so matter of fact. He's just like, huh. Then he invites everybody, basically all the angry villagers, to his house for sponge cake.
For sponge cake.
Nice little call back to them listening to the creature's heart, see if he's going to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the bride that you might have expected coming through the door.
Yeah. He gets to marry this lady, and the monster gets to marry his old lady.
Tells him to hold on to his hat, and he's like, I'm holding on to my hat.
And then she starts humming the music, and he's
Yep.
like, just,
I love this is just so like suburban, just middle class family.
yeah.
I mean, I can almost see this scene playing out on like Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
The whole hamper thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then she say like, what one is for your shirts and one is for your poopy
poopy,
pants or
Yeah,
something.
your
poopy
poopy
undies.
undies. Yeah.
It all through this, he's basically doing the monster or the creature version of just still kind of going until she comes out full Bride of Frankenstein look.
And she does the hiss. I love that.
He's like, "Oh yeah, here we go." Oh yeah, this way over the top comedy back of just the finger lick and the hiss.
And he goes to bed, and she starts asking him what else he inherited.
Did the monster have some of your intelligence? What did you get into the exchange?
And she starts singing the same song.
She starts
Now he's gonna be very popular.
I mean, I don't know if it was done this way intentionally, but having Igor the Hunchback up there with the
Igor, yeah.
gargoyles is a nice little Hunchback
Yeah.
of Notre Dame reference.
Yeah.
And there it is. That's it.
That's
Such
young
a good movie.
Frankenstein. It's so good.
It is. It
It's
is.
so hard to actually convey how good this is to everybody else. So, man,
Yeah, the way Mel Brooks put it, he said he basically ranked this as only his third funniest movie, but as his overall best movie. Like I think he considered Blazing Saddles and The Producers to be funnier, but this to be the actual greatest movie he ever did. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's not unfair. I probably would say this is funnier than The Producers, but then again, I've only seen The Producers once. But I probably would agree that Blazing Saddles is a little bit funnier, but I think it's fair to say this is his best movie.
well, and this also has a lot more gravitas just because it's such a like heartfelt tribute to the original.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing in the original machinery, filming in black and white, rebuilding sets so to spec from what they were before. It's the best way to kind of like honor something while also being a parody.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a goof. In the chase scene in the woods, the police inspector's prosthetic arm switches from right to left, and his badge and monocle eye patch also switches. And the clip was flipped when they were cutting it.
That is something I guess you don't have to necessarily worry about too much anymore with digital. When you snip a piece of film, they can just flip around.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's anything else I saw. Yeah, there's just so much kind of behind the scenes weird little funny notes to this film.
Now, Gene Wilder, I think this is also his favorite of his own movies that he did.
Yeah.
Which is it's understandable. That's understandable. This is a great one. This had to have been so much fun to make.
So apparently, Gene Wilder and Mel Brooks got into only one fight during the movie's production, but it was a big one.
Yep.
Mel throwing a huge temper tantrum, yelling, raging, while eventually storming out of Gene's apartment. Roughly 10 minutes later, Gene's phone rang. The caller was Mel, who had this to say: "I'm not going to yell it, but this is in all caps. Who was that madman you had in your house? I could hear the yelling all the way over here. You should never let crazy people into your house. Don't you know that? They could be dangerous." That, as Gene later would put it, was Mel's way of apologizing.
Yeah. Yeah, I read that little tidbit today and I was like, oh, that's nice. I like
That's
that.
so good.
It's like that's not at all difficult to believe.
Apparently, when they were doing the putting on the Ritz thing, nobody knew what the creature was going to say, and Peter Boyle just came up with it on the spot. Putting on the Ritz.
And you think about it, because if that had not been what he'd done, there would have been a case to cut the scene.
Yeah.
You need that as the punchline of the joke that's being told. You really need
if he just says it, it's not funny. And if he says nothing, it's not funny.
But saying it that way, it's like, oh, that's gold.
Yeah.
That's the punchline the joke needs. And it's fantastic. It's so good.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm not going to stop saying it. Go watch it. If you've seen
Was
it,
there any
watch
more
it again.
trivia you wanted to share?
I mean, I shared most of mine pretty much throughout.
I didn't have anything specific. I just pulled up IMDb and started scrolling through it.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie never gets old either. You can watch it anytime and it has the same laughs.
Right. It's timeless. It's not like the jokes are like you wouldn't get it. Like a show done today, it's so 2023 that if you're not like tuned in to like who they don't like for the president or, whatever, you're not going to get it. So in 30 years, it's not going to be relevant.
Yeah. You don't need to put in internet memes and TikTok dances into your film.
Well,
it's a great way to ensure that nobody watches it in 20 years.
If anything, if there's one arguably good thing that has come from all of the modern silliness and all the modern poor attempts at comedy or attempts to call stuff like this outdated, it's that this all gets funnier in spite of all of it. It's like this stuff gets funnier because it bugs people that they can't be that creative and that funny.
Right. And they have the attitude like they can do better.
Yeah.
And everything they think they can do better, it all flops.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's updated for a modern era. Well, the problem with that is that you lose what it was like back then by doing that. You don't get to see what people thought, how they acted. So in a way, you don't get to see potentially how far we've come in changes and how things are better than they used to be. But unfortunately, it just seems like it's worse than it used to be in a lot of ways. Or that the narrative that, things are bad now is not true. You look back and you see scenes and stuff, and you're like, well, wait, you said that there were no, people of this particular type ever in a movie before, but I'm seeing it with my own eyes. They're in this movie. You know what I mean? And or there's representation, whatever. It's there. You just got to go look at it. But if you're not watching the old stuff, you don't see it. You're just listening to some clown on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called now, or TikTok, or the mainstream media, and you can't. You're not fact checking for yourself. So seeing these older movies lets you see how people lived, what they look. How was the world then? What's the background look like? The clothes, the hair. How did they talk? How did they hold themselves? How did they act? What did they think was appropriate and not appropriate? What did they think was funny and not funny? And oddly enough, what they thought was funny is still funny now, because funny is funny.
Yeah.
They real funny, not referential funny.
Especially the one from that Cannoli did last night. The what was it?
Spaceballs.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the jokes.
I was like, Jacob, you okay?
Whoa.
I thought in that 2-second gap, the raccoon
cut out there for a minute. I think.
I was like, is this like the dramatic pauses we were talking about? Are you about to pop back in with Ovaltine?
But yeah, Spaceballs. That's another one of the greats.
Yeah, the movie last night that Cannoli did, Spaceballs, has a lot of jokes that would not go over well today.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously Blazing Saddles.
Yeah,
something they would absolutely despise today.
There was a meme I saw a year or two ago about the updated version of Blazing Saddles being aired on TV for the first time ever, and it was like 7 minutes long.
Yeah, it's them riding off in the sunset with the horses in the beginning. They're riding into town. That'd be it. The only thing that you could do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And again, such a good movie.
I mean, I haven't seen it in years, but even years ago when I saw it, at the time I was kind of going, eee.
Oh, I love it for that. I mean, like to me, it's like, okay, like Blazing Saddles doesn't necessarily get funnier with the times because it was always, pretty on the edge with its humor.
In the Matrix.
Whereas this is actually, I mean, this by most, people's standards would be considered very mild. It's like, it's very PG. It's a PG movie. It's PG sensibilities, but that because of the way things are now, it's like some people would still find something to be bothered by.
Well, that's just it. There's always somebody that just wants to put something out there on Twitter or TikTok or whatever and say, I'm offended by this. They'll come up with some reason for anything. Doesn't matter.
Can't believe the creature took her against her will. And it's like, well, it's a comedy, so get over yourself.
But there's always somebody that's going to come up with something. They'll argue about anything. They'll tell you the earth is flat, the sky is green when it's obviously blue, that you can live off of just tea and that's it. You never have to eat anything. So,
I mean, I'm kind of curious as far as Mel Brooks, was it a year or two ago that it was said he was going to be coming back with History of the World series.
Wow, really? I mean, I don't know if ever. I remember hearing something about that.
Isn't he like in his 90s?
Yeah, he's like 97 now.
Yeah.
Well, even his comedy from back in the day, almost none of it, even some of the stuff in this film, can be done today without the authority over you at the studios saying, no, you can't do this. And I don't want to see a neutered comedy like that. It's better for it to not exist.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't do it. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what should happen. And I wish they would take that attitude with so many things. Wouldn't it be cool? We should update this and we can get money out of it. It's like, no, you can't. You're just going to destroy the franchise. And I mean, you got to look at some things realistically. Some stuff that that I personally don't like, that I think they've done a bad job at, actually made some kind of money.
Yeah.
But there are other ones that it's just flop after flop after flop after flop. And
Yeah. It's insane. And they keep doing it. They don't change. They don't.
I think it's slowly changing. I think
Yeah, it is a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I
I
mean,
think we're gonna
we've
see a
seen
shift.
eras of. There have been various eras where things get censored or things are considered too edgy. I mean, heck, even during when Young Frankenstein came out, one of the things Mel Brooks did want to do was he wanted Terry Garr and Madeline Kahn to show as much cleavage as possible. And the ironic thing is that the studio let them get away with less than Bride of Frankenstein did from back in the 30s.
Wow.
Well, that's
the one
because
thing I noticed when I watched Bride of Frankenstein. I'm like, oh wow,
what year was
are
Bride
so
of
good.
Frankenstein made?
Huh?
What year was that one in the 30s made?
Bride of Frankenstein
for the
35.
Okay, yeah. So I want to say sometime in the 30s they came out with this new
Yeah, it was
film.
before the MPAA.
Right. The MPAA really clamped down because the King Kong movie, like, she was wearing next to nothing in that. And
Yeah.
there were
It's a
some other
classic
movies
for all the right reasons.
Yes, there were some other movies, like some of the ones that didn't even have sound yet, that were, I was even surprised, like, wow, for back then, holy smokes, that was a lot they were showing.
Well, I mean, I
So-
think I want to say the movie Wings, which came out, I think that was like the
Uh-huh.
very first Best Picture winner. Like actually, I think it came out in the late 20s.
Yeah, that came
That
out.
movie had nudity in it. I'm pretty sure that movie had nudity in it, and I was like,
really?
"Oh
Okay.
wow, they got
Well,
away with stuff."
if I heard you correctly, and I think I didn't, if it was called Wangs, I would expect it to.
No, it's about World War I fighter pilots.
No, yeah, I figured it's something along those lines.
Now, it also depends. This is for American movies only. There are a lot of European movies that had a lot going on there in that department. But yeah, I don't know. Just that whole. Here's what I think is going to happen. This is just me. Is that with the writer's strike and the writer's room and all that, out there somewhere is a new generation writer or producer, somebody that just hasn't hit it yet. They haven't let them expose what they're doing. And that's not what I meant. But but they got a really good story. They've got a new franchise or something it's going to start like a new storyline. That's not going to be a reboot. It's not going to be redoing Star Trek or Star Wars or any of that kind of stuff. It's going to be a new thing. It's going to be like how Star Wars was when it hit the street in 77. It's going to be like how Star Trek was when it hit the airwaves in 66. It's going to be something like that. It's going to be a new thing that no one's ever heard of before. That
and it's just going to blow everything up out of
right.
It's going
to be a great story. It's going to have all new characters that everyone's going to, be able to make money off of with toys and whatever. And I think there are tons of those stories out there. It's just the studios are too afraid to put money into them to make it. But here's the problem. They're dumping money into these other franchises where they just keep rebooting and retelling the origin story of some character 25 times. And people are tired of it. And it's run its course. You know what I mean?
Well,
and
that's why we've got I think, and I'm definitely not the only thing. This is the era of the independent creator.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the next great stories are going to come from, is some creator that put their stuff on YouTube hoping they were just going to eventually make some ad money.
Right.
And as long as they don't get gobbled up by some big corporation that's going to neuter everything, there's potential there.
Well, it also can be their breakthrough moment. But I've also noticed on certain streams that I've watched, they've gotten some relatively big name actors to come onto their show. Onto like a little stream. I was amazed. I was like, holy crap, they got, there's been a few that I've watched. And I think that if you can have lower level, I guess, if you want to call it that, creators making contact with these kinds of people, that exchange of ideas is one of the better things about the internet, is that you can, and also it's a good way to, like, if you put something out there, like Anthony Oliver or whatever his name is with that song, how that just went into the stratosphere.
Yeah.
and so imagine if you had a new type of IP that you created and you put out there that people latched onto, and how it could just skyrocket. And he turned down a lot of money because the company saw what the value was. Um, but I still think that if they were to kind of wake up and change who's in charge of some of these places or how they do business, because I still think that even within all these independent creators and stuff, nobody makes movies better than Hollywood. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? If it's done correctly, you got the right amount of money, you got the right people where they need to be, and everything goes together, you make spectacular entertainment. It's
Yep.
just they need to get back to that. They need to get rid of all the activism and nonsense out of there, and all the
And,
other clutter
and really
things.
clean up Hollywood.
Hmm.
Well, the
All
ideal
the-
scenario would be that it's not just the era of the independent creator, but the independent studio. That we'd have
Yep.
more like Angel
Mhm.
Studio situations out there where
Yeah.
you spend less than $20 million on a movie and it resonates to the point where it makes
Right.
close to 200 million. And
Well,
now
it's
it's
almost like a leap back in time when there were more studios and actors could move between them, and it was survival of the fittest. You
Yeah.
know, people were, because if you think about it, original movies, like especially like in the early 1900s, it was just people that went out and bought camera equipment and started doing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how you get like Earth to the Moon and things like that. Where
Correction, Sound of Freedom actually made more than 200 million. I forgot that it got an international release. It did pretty well.
yeah, and these movies that if a movie is good, well, that's not true. I was going to say if the movie's good, it'll do well, but that's not true. There are a lot of good movies out there that haven't done anything because the marketing was bad or they
Mhm.
were stymied in some fashion or another. But
Yeah.
you're right. If you can release it on the internet, you can't stop it. There's no stop.
I mean, especially if you're talking about independent creators, just getting that word of mouth is what does it for you. And things spread so quickly now. You might put something out there that you've put all your life savings into, so much of your time into, blood, sweat, and tears, and it may look like nothing's happening for a couple of weeks, but once that spark hits, it will skyrocket.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is obviously a gamble, but it's no more of a gamble than trusting a studio to see that your creation comes to light the way that you wanted it to happen. They might put it out there faster in front of more eyes more easily, but it may not be anything like what you
Like,
wanted.
how many movies have you seen where you're looking at the movie and the plot and stuff, and you're like, why didn't they just add this one line of dialogue and it would fix 90% of the problems in the movie or the TV show? Or why did they go with this when it could have just been a simple fight scene that you don't need all this flashy jumping around and weird AI stuff and whatever? You just make it go back to the basics.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like, it's amazing how much you can accomplish with just simplicity. I mean, like, I'm hearing a lot of really good stuff about this movie, The Creator, which was made for less than 100 million. And if you just look at some of the special effects shots from it, it looks significantly better than something like Quantumania, which cost like $250 million.
that had mismanagement and it was in COVID and a bunch of I think that
Insane.
that in the future we're going to really see what the true impact of COVID was on everything, as far as how it affected our society worldwide.
Just in general, when it comes to VFX, there was something, I can't remember who put it out on YouTube, that it was a video essay about how VFX are only bad when you notice them. And it was about how it pointed out how they're like, people say, Mad Max Fury Road is so great because they used practical effects. Yes, they did. They also used a ton of visual effects and CG married with the practical effects. And that still works.
Yeah.
And I think we've gotten to the point where visual effects studios are overworked. They don't have enough budget. They don't have the time they need. There was something, it was probably the Gourd or Crew channel, where there's like a triangle of, you can have it fast, you can have it cheap, or you can have it good. you can have 2 of those 3. You cannot have all 3. And studios these days are looking for fast and cheap.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And the talent is there.
Yeah.
But everybody's just trying to churn things out as much as possible. As much as Hollywood has always been a content machine, it is more so that today than it has ever been before.
Yep. And then you add 17 or 20% inflation on top of everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the cost of living and taxes and all these other things from where these places where this stuff is being produced. So if you moved your operation to, let's say, Oklahoma, you could probably make it for 10 times cheaper. I just picked that state because I don't know if it'd be cheaper there or not. But like go Montana.
It probably would. Oklahoma
would.
just
I mean,
basically
I think
Texas's hat. So
I think by
someplace with a
default,
low
if it's
cost
not
of living.
California or New York, it's cheaper.
But you know what I mean? Like significantly cheaper.
Yeah.
And since it's all done on computers and stuff anyway, I mean, I don't know. I think there is something to be said about being in a location that has that movie culture and history with it, and the people and the roots of, you got the carpenters and set designers and all this kind of stuff there. That's what you got to have as your base. But I think the prices of these movies being made are so expensive for what you get these days. You have to have a real banger of a story if you want to make any kind of real money out of it, especially now that everyone's hit the fatigue part and the pandemic with movie theaters and stuff like that. I've driven by so many closed movie theaters these last few weeks that I was surprised because, I hadn't driven by them in a while, and they're gone. They're just closed up, and they're big ones like AMC and stuff. Yeah.
Well, and also, to me, it's like if we could get back to movies having, because anymore these days, movies are just, they're in the theater, they're out, they're on digital, and it's all within about 4 or 5 months, and it's insanity for things to be that fast. And it's like, I mean, credit to the studio behind Oppenheimer for opting not to do that. They announced they're going to keep their movie in theaters till like the end of November, I think. But I'm like, they're constantly churning out movie after movie after movie after movie. I mean, it's like hospitals pushing patients out the door. It's so fast.
They gotta make back their money for their investment.
Yeah, and it's like, make fewer movies, give a crap about them, make something good, and they'll have a really long shelf life in those theaters. People will go to see them if they're good. I mean, I remember, back in the early 90s when Jurassic Park was in theaters, I remember a year after that came out, that was still at our local dollar theaters for you to go see. I mean, I was like, it's great.
I do think that we're not as bad as Hollywood looks. I don't think we're going to see a full collapse of Hollywood, not existing anymore. I do think we're going to see a collapse to the point where they are going to have to make cheaper movies and focus on story and character, because otherwise nobody's going to see them. They're going to have to do that. That is the only way forward for that industry as it is right now to survive, is lower budgets, better stories, better characters. You need to actually grab your audiences now. And even if you take it to streaming quickly after or whatever, that'll be your fallback or something like that. But using that as your crutch, as your excuse, and throwing, $1.5 billion at some big budget movie that nobody's really going to see.
And we've had the superhero stuff and a bunch of CGI. Bring it back down to earth. Make some movies that are grounded and for a change.
And a lot of that is these last couple of movies that they've come out for these different franchises it's just living off of the goodwill that the movies from 10 years ago made. And people are just now like, okay, you guys are just shoveling crap, and it's not the same quality. The stories aren't as good. The characters are a little long in the tooth now. Things like that. And it's just a natural way of things, I mean, you can only have an actor being a part for so long while they age, unless you modify the story to go along with it. instead of, or you recast them or whatever. But there's just so
Right.
much money being blown on these movies that nobody cares about, and they care about the characters, right? They care about the franchise, but they don't care about the movie because the movie's dog do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's mismanagement. They're spending hundreds of millions of dollars. You can't tell me you couldn't make Ant-Man cheaper than that. Come on. All you had to do was cut back on some of the nonsense in the movie, you know?
Yeah.
And you could have made it for half that cost easily, just by making the story better.
Yeah.
If only.
Well, yeah. Well, we've been going for over a couple hours, so. And I do have some good
we
news.
all started ranting there at the end.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
That's
what were we
fine.
talking about? What movie?
It's fine. But I have some good news. I'm officially halfway to monetization.
Yay!
I got 250 subs.
Woo.
You deserve more.
So I'm getting closer.
Honestly.
Baby
I'm not
steps.
blowing smoke up places. You deserve more.
And I
Thanks.
guess
Thank
and this is not one-upping or anything. It's just because it also happened recently. I recently became monetized. And
Yeah, that's cool.
my Rings of Power video released last week on Tuesday and has done really a lot better than I expected it would be. I thought asking people 3 months
And-
after I had created my last movie thing to watch an hour, 13-minute breakdown of a bad
And
show
that-
was a bit much.
Yeah.
But I've gained over
And that was a
30
fantastic video you did there.
I appreciate it.
On
Yeah,
Real
I haven't seen
that's
it yet,
great.
but I'm looking forward to it.
yeah,
I'm behind on my YouTube viewing.
But yeah, it's closing in on 1,500 views. It's gotten a really good deal of engagement, and yeah, like I said, I think I released it with 581 subs, and I'm at 619 now. So yeah, it's definitely widened my audience. I've already started making money on super chats, so I'm a professional YouTuber now.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, congratulations. And
Yeah, that's
for
great.
those of you that are still in the chat, if you do and you haven't subbed to Jacob, and you do, just please make sure you hit the bell and watch one of his videos or some of his content. Apparently that's like a thing that needs to happen now in order to keep those subscriptions.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I do have some short ones you could watch, just real short.
And I
Parody
think
clips.
that might be something for all the creators out there, is just make like a quickie, not a short, but an actual video. I'm not sure if it has to have I think it's got to be longer than 5 minutes for it to count for the new thing, but that's what I heard. It could be wrong, but make it 5 or 10, and just that way, and you just title it, watch this to keep my subs or something.
Well, you can also put it as your channel trailer on your
Right.
homepage that will automatically start
Right.
playing.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that having a channel trailer is a good idea to kind of give everybody an idea of what your channel's about and stuff. Although I honestly, I say this every time, but I think that intro that Jacob got, he just put that up. That thing is so good.
Look,
music
I
and all
posted
the-
yesterday on Twix or Twitter or whatever that song, and that I can picture the visuals get stuck in my head.
Mhm.
It lives rent free there. Just every now and then I start humming it. I love it.
Right. And it's got all of those are such good movies.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
right there, if you want a movie recommendation, just watch the Jacob Ironside's intro.
Yes.
Yeah.
That right there. I'm
100%.
100% not lying.
Watch it,
Those are
pause
all
it at intervals,
bangers.
make a checklist.
Yeah.
Boom.
They are some
Yes.
of the
And then
best
come on
movies
down to
ever
this
made.
channel and watch it get broken down.
Yeah,
All right. If we
exactly.
keep this up, his ego is
Yes.
going to pop like
Well, look at
outside of that little
look
box right
at
there.
his screen. He's sitting in a chair with the universe behind.
Yeah, come on, Jacob. I
You're right,
I
he's got
literally
plenty of space
carry
for
the
that ego to
title
grow.
king, and I just carry a pipe and a little
and
cap.
a little hat. Yeah.
I keep it. I'm a humble king,
You're just a humble king. Yeah. But I'm a Spartan.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's got the
I'm a Spartan godfather. Come on.
exactly. He had to fight the raccoon immortals.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, I'm probably the only one, but I also picture that avatar, Jacob, that you have right there in that chair, being in front of the old like Dolby systems where they would have the advertisement where like it was so loud as blowing against you. Yeah, I don't know why. My brain goes weird places.
Simple sound cannot touch the power of Jacob Ironside.
Well, guys, what y'all got? Anything y'all want to plug?
Okay, on Thursday I will be on Roman's channel. We'll be doing episode 6 of Ahsoka, so we'll be on there to go over that show. It's a show that I wish was better than it is, but it's not as bad as Kenobi, so it's got that going for it.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I am currently either working on or juggling 3 scripts at the moment. I'm working on a full-blown review for A New Hope, Star Wars. I'm also, before that, I'll have a reaction video posted. I won't say the movie yet just because I haven't actually watched the actual movie. I've done the intro to it, and I'll be watching that movie either tonight or tomorrow. It actually got brought up in the chat. It's a terrible movie, apparently. But I'll be doing something of a reaction to it. And then after that, I'll be jumping into episode 2 of Rings of Power later on. So, you know, a few things lined up on the schedule.
Cool. Thursday, I'll actually be over there along with Shield on Roman's channel, which is actually episode 7. I know it feels like we haven't gotten that far through it, but
Is this episode 7? Okay,
it's 7, and we have one more after that.
I'm so glad we're almost done.
Yeah. And Jacob's going to be there with us too, if I recall correctly. So tune in for that. That's our therapy session. And Saturday, I will be on at 9 Central after the weekend with R to the Icky and JT Gunn with our special guest this week, Untamed Mando.
Awesome. Oh, she's also going to be on the Thursday show with Roman.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Losing her mind over the Mandalorian stuff again.
We'll try to give her a break on Saturday and not bring any of that stuff up.
Soon to be the Womandalorian.
So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So yep. I will be on Roman's show on Thursday as well. And next week starts my October shows, and I will be doing 5 movies from the Universal Monsters. And I'll be doing next week will be The Wolfman, and then next is The Invisible Man, then The Mummy, Frankenstein, and Dracula will be on Halloween.
The Creature from the Black Lagoon is not part of that, is it?
I think it is.
It is, but it's just later on. It's like in the 50s, late 50s, I think. But yeah,
Creature from the Lagoon of Color.
I like Wolfman. Michael J. Fox was great in it.
not that Wolfman.
Yeah, that's still a good movie.
Yeah, it is good.
But you're talking the classics.
But yeah, that's what I
got.
got. Yeah. And I just want to say again, thank y'all for coming on again and talking about this great movie. Yeah, and thanks to the chat for hanging out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the chat was awesome tonight, as always.
And we will see y'all next time. Have a good one, everybody.
Later,
everybody.